Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've gotten a lot of recommendations today. And the first news we'll be talking about today is coming from the Iranian and Israeli conflict in the Middle East. So obviously in the past few days, the Israeli-Iranian conflict has escalated into full-scale military action with devastating consequences on each side. And here is what you need to know. So on Friday, June the 13th, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a large-scale airstrike targeting Iran's nuclear facilities, military installations, and key personnel of the Iranian High Command in the Iranian capital city of Tehran. This operation, months in the making, aimed to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. Israel's defense minister stated that the operation was a preemptive strike based on intelligence suggesting that Iran was on the verge of developing nuclear weapons. So, within hours of Israel doing its preemptive strike on Iran, Iran launched its own strikes on Israel just hours after the preemptive strike of Israel, targeting key Israeli cities like Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. So, Iranian missile strikes targeted Israeli cities, breaching the Iron Dome defense system and causing civilian casualties. At least 8 Israelis have been reported dead, and significant infrastructure damage has been reported in Israel. Iran has also accused Israel of war crimes for attacking hospitals and news stations around Iran, vowing to take legal steps and attacks against Israel. The United States has also condemned the escalation, with the Secretary General expressing concern over the attacks on nuclear installations. The US President Donald Trump has also expressed hope for peaceful resolution, but reaffirmed support for Israel's right to defend itself. Russia and China have called for de-escalation, urging both nations to return to the diplomatic talks. And Iran has also warned of attacks on US and UK and French bases in the region if they intervene. So let's just dive more deeper into the actual front lines of these attacks. So first, let's just start off with the Iranian strikes in Israel. Obviously, we can't cover all of them. There's been approximately of 450 Iranian strikes on Israel so far. So let's just cover the key Iranian strikes on Israel. And probably one of the biggest strikes we've gotten is coming from the Israeli city of Haifa here, near the border of Lebanon. So in Haifa houses Israel's largest oil refinery right here on the satellite maps here. So we can see the footage here in your bottom left corner. We can see Iranian strikes hitting the oil refinery in Haifa. This particular plant produces more than 80% of Israel's fuel, including fuel for fighter jets. So this will Israel has been forced to actually shut down this oil refinery in the meantime to try and put out the flames, but this attack certainly paralyzes the oil refineries of Israel. We've also got news today that Iran has also struck near the proximity of the Israeli intelligence Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv, and more specifically Gilead. So right here. So we've got news that Iran strikes Mossad headquarters in Israel. So according to news we've gotten, at least 4 Iranian missiles have hit near the proximity of Israel's military base in Gilead. So this base houses the unit of the 8200 Signal Intelligence Unit. So the footage shows the air defense systems attempting to intercept the strikes of the Iranian missiles that hit approximately near the headquarters of Mossad, but did not hit precisely on the building. So Iran tried to hit the Mossad intelligence headquarters, but failed to get a direct hit. We've got news that over 287 people have been injured overnight in the Iranian strikes, the Israel's health ministry reported. So I'll try and keep you updated on that. Now let's move to the Israel strikes on Iran. So we've just gotten some news today that Israel says it has destroyed over 120 Iranian missile launchers overnight. According to the IDF, we've achieved aerial superiority over Iran. Israeli military says the Air Force has destroyed a third of Iran's ballistic missile launchers. An IDF spokesman stated that we are striking Iranian cells that are launching missiles at Israel and our aircraft in real time. Israel is expected to issue its first ever evacuation orders for buildings and neighborhoods in Iran's capital in Tehran as well. So Israel is now saying that it has destroyed over 40% of Iran's missile launchers capabilities. We still haven't gotten a confirm on that yet. We've also got news that according to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, Israel has achieved full aerial superiority over the skies of Iran and Tehran, the capital city of Iran. We've also got news today that that Israel has also struck the Iranian state television headquarters during news broadcast. So you can see here in the bottom left corner, during the broadcast of the Iranian state television, Israel struck the headquarters of the Iran state broadcasting building. And furthermore, the IDF claims that the news agency building was used to promote military operations under civilian cover, and that's why Israel bombed the building. And furthermore, we've also got news that the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, continue its strikes on the Iranian Air Force. So you can see this footage here in the bottom left corner. We can see footage of the Israeli Air Force destroying Iranian F-14 Tomcat jets, but the Iranian sources tell us that these were decommissioned. So, interesting news. We've also got news that the IDF claims to have destroyed 5 Iranian attack helicopters that were being used to intercept Israeli drones. So you can see here in the bottom left corner, we can see the exact footage of the Israeli jets bombing 5 Iranian AH-1 helicopters in air bases around Iran. We've also got news that the Tibritz missile base in northern western Iran has also been completely destroyed. So missile bases in Tibritz, this major city Iran, have been destroyed here in your bottom left corner. And we've also got news that according to the IDF, so far Israel has struck 1,100 targets in Iran. So very big news. And furthermore, we've also gotten some more news today that Israel continues to strike the Iranian nuclear facilities around Iran. So one of them just today, on June the 19th, Israel has launched an attack on the nuclear facility here in the Iraq region. So if you can see footage here in your bottom left corner, we can see footage that shows Israel's strike on the nuclear reactor in Iran's Iraq region and the aftermath. Israel says that the reactor, the nuclear facility, was inactive, and the strike targeted the structure sealing the core, a key component in plutonium production. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, Israel has just targeted this nuclear facility. And furthermore, that's not the only nuclear facility that was struck today. We've also got news today that the Bushra nuclear power plant was also struck. So we haven't gotten any video confirmation on this, but we've got news that Israel claims strikes on the Iranian nuclear site in Bushra. So Israeli officials announced that strikes were carried out against the nuclear facility in Bushra. Bushra is the home to the major civilian nuclear power plant, constructed and operated with Russian assistance. The Bushra 1 reactor was built with Russia and has been operational since 2013 and is under the International Atomic Energy Agency's oversight, and additional reactors at the site are also being developed. So we've got news that this particular nuclear facility, the Bushra nuclear power plant and nuclear facility, has also been struck by the Israeli Defense Forces. So very big news. And while all of these strikes are happening, we see a huge sea coalition that is gaining momentum in the seas. Because we've just got news today that's the aircraft carrier USS Nimitz and its task group are currently en route to the Middle East, where 3 aircraft carriers of the US Navy will be meeting them. So one is USS Nimitz, the second one is USS Carl Vinson, and the third one is USS Ford. So there's a total of 3 American aircraft carriers that are going to be deployed in the Gulf of Oman or perhaps the Persian Gulf. So US deploys 3 aircraft carriers. So the USS Ford, the most advanced aircraft carrier in the US Navy, and her battle group have been ordered to approach the area currently under European command responsibility. USS Ford will join Carl Vinson and Nimitz, which are currently en route to the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. So very big news. We've also gotten some news today that's the British aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth is en route to the Persian Gulf as well. So the British aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth has reportedly been transited and transmitted through the Suez Canal on June the 19th, according to regional maritime sources. The move comes amid heightened tensions in the Middle East following Israel's recent attack on the Iraq nuclear facility, which we just reported on, and reported Israeli military operations in Iran. The carrier's deployment signals an increase tension and perhaps a future war. So very big news. So in total 4 foreign aircraft carriers will be deployed to the Gulf of Oman. So 3 will be under the USS command and the second will be under the British command. So HMS Queen Elizabeth, USS Carl Vinson, USS Nimitz and USS Ford will be deployed to the Gulf of Oman and will be arriving in the next 2 to maybe 3 days. And while America is deploying this huge fleet with its strike forces, we've got news that American B-52 bombers have just been deployed to the Diego Garcia military base under British rule. A US base and British base in the Indian Ocean, positioned within striking range of Iran, and these long-range bombers are capable of carrying out precision strikes deep into the inside of Iranian territory. So not only America is deploying 3 aircraft carriers, America is also deploying bomber B-52 bombers to the British Indian Ocean territory. And furthermore, while America is deploying its bombers to the Indian Ocean territories, we've also got news that US tanker aircraft deployment has also been noted. So the US military is repositioning a huge number of aerial refueling aircraft to the Middle East, positioning them closer to the Middle East theater of operations. This strategic move aims to provide flexible options for President Donald Trump and the Pentagon to defend US assets and interests in the region. So the US has significantly increased its military presence in the Middle East, deploying additional tanker aircraft to support operations amid escalating tensions with Iran and the ongoing Israeli military actions. So the US repositioned dozens of tanker aircrafts, including KC-46 refueling aircraft and multiple more. The purpose of these tankers are very essential for extending the operational range of fighter jets and bombers, enabling more extended operations and air patrols and rapid response capabilities in the region. So it's pretty much clear that something serious is going to be happening. America and Britain are mobilizing its naval assets. America is moving its bombers closer to Iran. And just today, we've gotten news that Donald J. Trump is now demanding the unconditional surrender of Iran. So with the latest news, Donald Trump has demanded that Iran unconditionally surrender. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, Donald Trump stated that we know exactly where this so-called supreme leader is hiding. So the supreme leader of Iran is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out. At least not for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. And he doubled down just today. Donald Trump again demanded Iran's capitulation. He again stated that we are not looking for a ceasefire, we are looking for a complete victory, and that means no nuclear weapons for Iran. So the US president has pretty much given an ultimatum to Iran: either cease your nuclear facilities and your nuclear program, or America will join the war and help Israel bomb nuclear facilities and take out the Iranian high command. And just today, we've also got news that Trump has also approved an attack plan on Iran. So President Donald Trump, with senior aides late on Tuesday, he approved of attack plans for Iran, but was holding off on giving the final order to see if Iran will abandon its nuclear program. So this is according to the National Security Post. So it seems that Donald Trump is repositioning its military, well, America is repositioning its military, and Donald Trump has also just approved attack plans on Iran. So it seems that something big is obviously going to be happening. That's practically all I've gotten news today regarding Iran and Israel. There's been a lot of news recently, and I just can't go all over it, so I hope that kind of makes sense. So, very interesting news coming from the Middle East. The next news we'll be talking about today is coming from the Russian Federation. So, the Russian President Vladimir Putin held a Q&A with global agencies meeting in St. Petersburg. So Vladimir Putin took questions from multiple world news agencies, corporations around the world, and this is the main point he has made in his Q&A. So again, Vladimir Putin hosted a St. Petersburg Q&A where he took questions from Indian media, Chinese media, Western media, and here is the main points from his Q&A. So according to Vladimir Putin, the Russian military have strategic advantages in all directions in the war in Ukraine. Russia wants to end the conflict in Ukraine as quickly as possible, preferably peacefully. Ukraine's losses on the battlefield exceed the country's mobilization level. The Ukrainian armed forces are 47% staffed, and the assault units are even less and incapable of combat. There is mass and forced mobilization in Ukraine, and he noted the failure of Ukraine's plans to take 18-year-old boys into the army. Ukraine should not delay negotiations. Russia is ready to resolve this according to the Istanbul Principles. Negotiators from Russia and Ukraine are ready to meet after June 22nd. Putin is ready to meet with the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, at the final stage of the settlement, but the documents must be signed by a legitimate authorities. If you don't know, Russia does not actually recognize the Ukrainian president Volodymyr Zelensky to be actually the legitimate president of Ukraine. So Putin's saying that he's all happy to meet Zelensky, but someone legitimate has to sign the documents on peace between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. Trump is right when he says that the conflict in Ukraine might not have happened under his leadership, Putin noted. Russia is self-sufficient in terms of ensuring its own security. NATO's rearmament is not a threat. Iran's underground factories still exist. Nothing has happened to them. German tanks were in the Kursk region, which Germany recognizes as a part of the Russian Federation. region. This seriously damages the relationship between Germany and Russia, but will not affect the course of military operations. And his last main statement was that the Ukrainian military cannot control German terrorist missiles without space reconnaissance. It is impossible to use them without German officers. So, very interesting news. We've also gotten some news coming from the Russian and Finnish border, that Russia is now expanding its military presence near the Finnish border. So fresh satellite images published by Western outlets and satellites show that Russia is constructing a new military complex near the Finnish border. According to Western media, a clear sign of long-term troop reinforcement in the region. So significant fortifications and a Russian buildup has been noted and has been captured from satellite images of a huge Russian buildup. So Russia is building a garrison for an artillery brigade near the Finnish border and increasing its stockpile of military equipment all along the Finnish border, according to Finland's public broadcaster Yle, citing satellite images. So you can see here in the bottom left corner, this is a couple of the satellite images we've gotten from the Russian buildup on the Finnish border. We've also gotten some breaking news today that Russian officials have arrived in Pyongyang, the capital city of North Korea. The Russian Security Council Secretary and former Defense Minister of Russia, Sergey Shogu, arrived in the capital city of North Korea, where he met Kim Jong-un and signed very big deals. So, according to news we've gotten and the outcome of the meeting between the Russian officials and the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, according to Sergey Shogu, Kim Jong-un has just decided to send 1,000 sappers and 5,000 military construction personnel to help Russia rebuild the Kursk border regions, according to Shogu. And we've also got news that North Korea will be sending combat engineers to the Kursk region as well. And furthermore, the next news we've got today is coming from Belarus. So we've got news that Donald Trump's special envoy, Keith Kalog, will be meeting the Belarusian President Lukashenko in the coming days, Reuters reported. So we don't know exactly what they'll be speaking about, but most likely they'll be talking about negotiations to settle the Russian and Ukrainian conflict. So again, Donald Trump's special envoy, Keith Kalog, will be meeting the Belarusian president in the coming days. And furthermore, the next news we've got today is coming from the United Kingdom. So we've got news that the UK names the first female MI6 chief. So Blaise Metrivelli has been appointed as the first female chief of MI6, the UK's secret intelligence service. So, Blaise Metrivelli has been appointed as the first female head of the UK Secret Intelligence Service, or MI6. She will succeed Sir Richard Moore, who is retiring in October 2025. So, Metrivelli has served in MI6 since 1999, holding various roles, including Director General for Technology and Innovation. She has also worked in MI5 and held operational roles in the Middle East and Europe. Metrivelli is fluent in Arabic and has been recognized for her expertise in the Middle Eastern affairs. As the new chief, Metrivelli will oversee MI6 operations and strategy, reporting directly to the Foreign Secretary. She will face evolving security challenges, including cyber threats and espionage activities from nations like China and Russia, the United Kingdom reports. So the UK has now named the first female MI6 chief, and that's Blaise Metrivelli, that have actually insisted of NATO members boosting their military GDP spending to 5%, so Spain will oppose this bill. And furthermore, the next news we've got today is coming from the People's Republic of China. So we've got news that China has increased its nuclear warhead stockpile to 600 nuclear warheads, according to the latest report. So China is growing faster than any other nation. China is adding 100 nuclear warheads per year since 2023. So by January 2025, China has completed or nearly completed 350 new intercontinental ballistic missile silos across 6 major regions. So China has just increased its nuclear warhead stockpile to 600, according to the latest report. Again, the fastest growing nation in terms of adding nuclear warheads to its stockpile. So we see that China is now actively upgrading and producing more nuclear warheads. So approximately 100 nuclear warheads are being made every year in China. So probably China probably aims to get as much as maybe Russia and the United States. So I'll keep you updated on that. And that is all the news I actually have for you today. I am Nonseen News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.